All right, it's finally time. Do 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 do. The plot of Slide 2 Band of Thieves Unscripted. Spoilers, up, go. Hey, did you know that you're watching part 5 of this 5-part series? Watch part 1 if you haven't already. Like right now. Or don't. So, as they were being lifted up by the battery, Sly did some research on their new adversary, Arpeggio. And when he was little, Arpeggio went to school with all the other birds. But as time went on, his wings didn't grow like all the other birds. And everyone else could fly except for him. And so he got like really mad about that. And so he decided to start making a whole bunch of wacky, crazy inventions made by the Renaissance guys, and he decided to be a villain in something, and the Claw Gang took him up as chief engineer. And so this guy has all the Clockwerk parts, and now they gotta stop him in Anatomy for Disaster. So Sly and the gang, they go all the way up to Arpeggio's evil fortress in the sky, and Sly, he's got to go take some pictures inside Arpeggio's blimp, and so he goes in to take some reconnaissance. But he realizes that Clockwerk has been completely built, but he ain't moving. So Sly's got to go take some pictures, like of Clockwerk's head, the magnets that are stabilizing him, and Egg. But Arpeggio is also inside the blimp, and he is not alone because he has Neela with him. And so Sly has to reverse all the magnets in order to prevent Clockwerk from being functional. And so he does, but it actually just makes things worse because now Clockwerk is now functional. And Arpeggio comes out and he's like, "Yeah, now I can become one with Clockwerk once again." And Sly's like, "Wow. You did all of this just because you can't even fly. You're sad, Arpeggio. You're sad." But it turns out that Arpeggio's plan is not for flight, but actually for immortality. For you see, his plan goes a little bit something like this. So, Clockwerk's immortality works on hate. So, he needs to get a lot of hate. Now, that is the tricky part. So, what he did is that he got Rajan in order to get a whole bunch of hate. He grew up a bunch of spices, which makes people a lot of angry. So he had John Bassan in order to ship out all those spices, and also in North America. But more importantly, they go all the way to Paris, France. And more importantly, they go inside of Dimitri's nightclub, which is the hipness happening's place in town. And and Dimitri just puts a whole bunch of spices all onto other people's foods. And Arpeggio is traveling all the way to go all above Paris and have a freaky light show created by the Contessa. And so, due to the Contessa's hypnosis, everyone in Paris will be feeling a whole bunch of hate, and Arpeggio and Clockwerk will have a whole bunch of immortality, and Arpeggio will be immortality forever. Yeah. But what he didn't expect was his protege Neela attacks him and takes Clockwerk all for herself, and then also kills Arpeggio. So, sad day for Arpeggio. And now, with all the pieces of Clockwerk put into one place, she is now the most powerful villain of all time. She is Clockla. So, Arpeggio's fortress is heading all the way to France, and they need to stop Clockla. And in order to stop both that and Clockla, they need to stop the 4 engines that are on Arpeggio's fortress. So Sly has to sneak around inside of a barrel and collect power cells, and let's just pretend that this one doesn't happen and that engine just got magically destroyed. So Bentley and The Murray team up, and Bentley hacks into like a couple of computers that are all over the place, and so that the Murray can lift up things and then slam them with the thunderflop, and then that takes out 2 engines. And so Sly and the Murray team up, and Sly, he's got no wait, the Murray has to deactivate alarms and that are all over the place by throwing stuff at them. And Sly, he goes inside of the engine and starts jumping over saw blades and avoiding lasers and jumping on more saw blades. And then he shuts down the 3rd engine. And so Sly and Bentley team up, and Sly, he goes around pickpocketing keys from the guards, and he goes inside. He lets Bentley go inside to start shooting up the light bulbs and blowing up parts of the engine inside of the engine, and he takes out the 4th engine. So now Bentley got a call from Carmelita that she's in a helicopter, and she's trying to find Arpeggio's fortress, but she can't find it anywhere, so she needs someone to activate the radio towers. And so Bentley gives Sly a jump pack in order to turn on the radio signals. And so Sly turns on the radio signals, and Carmelita now knows where the fortress is, and now they're ready to take down Clockwerk in Carmelita's gunner! Yeah, there's no operation this time. So Sly gets inside Carmelita's helicopter and starts manning the turret, and now he's gonna take on Clockwerk and start shooting at her. Yep, he's shooting at her. Any second now, she's gonna be pretty sore. Any second now, she's gonna be pretty dang rough. Wow, Neela's not gonna like that one. Any second now. And now Clockwerk has been shot down, and she crashes all the way through Arpeggio's fortress, and she takes away the battery that Bentley and the Murray were hiding in, and so Sly has to jump all the way in order to save Bentley and the Murray. This is how Bentley thought he would die. And so Sly jumps onto Clockwerk, and Clockwerk says, "Sly Cooper, you can never defeat me. I will live forever with this hate chip that is installed inside of me." And Sly says, "Wait, you have a hate chip inside of you?" And then they crash into France, and there was a huge explosion. But everyone was okay, especially the Cooper gang. And they're like, "Wow, the day is saved, and that crazy girl got defeated." But it turns out that she was still alive. Who knew? And so they realized, we need to get rid of this hate chip once and for all. And so the Murray goes right over all the lasers and stuff, and then he pries open Clockwerk's mouth, and it shows Neela's holographic face that's still going like, Sly, you can't defeat me, I'm immortal, blah, blah, blah. And then Bentley goes over and gets a couple of bombs and then blows her up, blows the hologram up. And so he goes inside Clockwerk's mouth and takes away the hate chip. But not before Clockwerk's beak snaps shut and breaks Bentley's legs. And so the Murray tries to get him up as fast as possible, but Bentley can't walk. So the Murray grabs Bentley, and they get out of that explosion. And so they saw the wreckage of Clockwerk, not Clockwerk. And now they have noticed that all the pieces of Clockwerk are still intact after the huge explosion. But since they got the hate chip, and Carmelita just really wants to beat up Neela, they decide to give her the hate chip. And then she stomped on it, which caused all the pieces of Clockwerk to rust up and evaporate as though 1,000 years have affected them. And thus, Clockwerk has been defeated. So now Carmelita just decides to arrest the whole entire gang, and Sly and his gang, there's no way that they can get out of this one. There's no 10-second head start, there's no volcano, and everyone is beaten up. So Sly offers himself to turn himself in so long as his gang can get away. And so Carmelita agrees to this. And so Bentley and the Murray leave their gear behind and they walk off into the sunrise, hoping that Sly will be okay. And so Sly starts resting for a bit until he gets picked up by the coppers. And once the chief shows up, he gives Carmelita a promotion and she becomes a cop again. And so they take Sly inside the helicopter. And Sly and Carmelita, they start talking about all their wacky adventures and how much fun they've been having. And they've been talking about art, music, and I think food. I don't really know. And Carmelita even shows up the bottle that she was going to save for the occasion when she arrested Sly. But then she starts to realize that the trip that was supposed to take like 10 minutes took about like 2 hours. So Carmelita decided to talk to the pilot, but then it turns out that Bentley and the Murray decided to fly them around in circles. And while she made the discovery, Sly jumps out of the helicopter with that paraglider, and he even takes the bottle with him. And as he's flying off into the distance, he can hear Carmelita faintly. I'll find you, Cooper! And thus ends Sly 2, Band of Thieves. I'll be seeing you soon, Ringtail. Unscripted! And now we learn about the villain's fates. Dimitri became a party on a cruise liner. Rajan started selling rugs. The Contessa started selling homes with her hypnotism. And John Bassan decided to work for the EPA. And he got frozen after saving a bunch of penguins. And now is the true end of Sly 2. Band of Thieves. Unscripted. Okay. So I just finished the plot of Sly 2 Unscripted, and boy howdy, was it one heck of a journey. In case if you didn't know, I started this series back all the way in October of 2017, and right now I'm finishing this series off in January 2020. So it took me about 2 years and 2 months to summarize a game in that takes about 6 hours. But you know what? That's fine. That's okay. Also, I started my YouTube channel about 3 years ago. So yeah, it's kind of weird like that. So I don't know how to go from point A to point B, but gosh darn. So anyway, I would like to thank all of you people who have been watching this whole entire series. It means a lot to me that there are some people out there who are willing to watch a video about Sly Cooper in like this day and age, when Sly Cooper is not exactly one of the most popular series of all time. So, especially when it comes to a video like this. So, anyone who has ever watched this whole entire series, or even just a fraction of it, and you're probably not even watching this, I thank you. I thank you for at least giving this video a chance. With that being said, there's one more person that I really want to thank, and they've been with me ever since after episode 1, and that would be Swampy Fwoggo. She's an incredible artist who's been able to create new ways for me to present this whole entire series, and every single time that I get something new from her, I am flabbergasted of how incredible she is.
especially with that title card that she made for this episode. I didn't even ask her to do that, and yet she did it anyway. So if you want to help her in any sort of way, please follow her on her social media on the links below. If you want to see incredible art just like that you've seen in this video. You can also follow my social media too if you want to. And yeah, so thank you for listening to this whole entire thing. And now you will be greatly rewarded because you get to have like one of those like credit things that like show up at the end of like the movie. It's gonna be like one of those things that Thanos says where it's like, I'm gonna bring the boys back. That's exactly what Thanos said. And so now here's the teaser. Are you ready? I I hope you're ready, because here it goes. Here's the teaser. Go outside.